Hari Om to one and all. Shall we begin our session? Kindly join me for Om Smaran followed by Shanti Part. सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। Vedanta, philosophy of spirituality from India. Spirituality means three things: knowing ourselves, correct understanding of the world we live in, and what is that interrelationship between that truth, the Brahman, as we call him, the God, or the consciousness, with us and the world. The word Brahman means truth. Therefore, Brahma Vidya, knowledge of the truth. Tattva Bodh, knowing the truth. These are the words that we have all heard before. I'm just giving you a quick revision, a recap of that. We are studying Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna Adhikari, a person, a fit student endowed with the fourfold qualifications. What are the fourfold qualifications? Viveka, Vairagya, the Shada Sampatti, the six inner wealth, starting from mind control and so on. And the fourth, Mumukshutvam, an unshaken desire, a will to know the truth, to reach the truth. We have concluded Viveka, we have covered Vairagya, we are on the six inner wealth, Sama, Dhamma. The six are Sama, mind control, Dhamma, sense control, Uparama, withdrawal, Titiksha, forbearance, Shraddha, faith, and Samadhan, single pointedness, focus, concentration. Sama and Dhamma, while Sama is control of at the mental level, Dhamma is the control at the 10 senses level. Quickly, what are the 10 senses? 5, the senses of perception, and 5, the senses of action. To the one who has mind control comes easily the sense control. But when one loses control over the mind, yet retains control over the senses, that is called Dhamma. For example, one may get angry but refrain from using harsh words. The senses are extroverted by nature. They are extrovert by nature. They always look outside. Ears are listening from outside. Sensation comes from outside. Taste comes from outside. Like the wild horse, they run after their respective sense object. either simultaneously or sequentially, but continuously. Never allowing the mind. The mind receives perception from this only, from the senses. Never allowing the mind to remain at peace. The tongue wants to taste spicy food or keep talking, while the eyes want to watch some beautiful thing or television, and the hands are restless to do something or the other all the time, and so on and so forth, the different senses. The senses unfortunately indulge to entertain the mind with unwanted and unhealthy perceptions. Dhamma, control of the senses, all the 10 senses, could act like a entry checkpoint, like we call it in our Switzerland, Zoll, a border control, where you can check what comes inside, to check what is fed to the mind, what you intake. That is what your mind is. What is mind otherwise, if not the intake, that the information that it has? If at the organ level we control what goes in, then the job for the mind to control its impulses becomes easier. Therefore, in other words, Dhamma fortifies Sama. The sense control fortifies the mind control. A beautiful statement which is befitting over here from the Bharatnatyam. Bharatnatyam is a very traditional Indian dance form. It says, where your hand goes, it's a dance form. Where your hand goes, your eyes should follow. Where your eyes are, your mind follows. Where the mind is, expression happens, means knowledge. Isn't it beautiful? Meaning, where your hands, the organs, not only hands we are talking about, all the organs, where the organs are working, your mind naturally follows. This is a natural habit of the mind. Bhagavad Gita also says something, but which is very powerful. It says, as you intake whatever is taken in the mind, so the mind. As the mind, so the thoughts. As the thoughts, so the words. As the words, so your actions. As your actions, so the character. As the character, so your life. And as your life, so your destiny. Where did it start from? What was taken in? Here we are talking about mind. We are talking about intake of the mind, means perception. Be careful of what you intake, because ultimately that is what is going to be reproduced. What we intake, that is what we reproduce. Starting from a single impulse coming from outside or coming from inside, if you entertain that impulse coming from the world or the impulse coming from inside of the world, will create your destiny. Therefore, just be careful of what you intake. So you see, sense control, which is called Dhamma, plays a very, very important role in getting the mind control, which is called Sama. So, as I told you before, that even if you have Dhamma, Sama will happen. And if you have Sama, Dhamma will definitely happen. But it is very important. Now comes the important aspect which I told you last time. There's something which is left which I have to speak to you about. How to train the mind. The purpose of training the senses and the process is the same as to tame a horse. This process is called Dhamma, controlling. A life of discipline, healthy habits helps control the senses. One must train the senses to follow good habits or exercise control even when provoked or tempted. For example, a well-brought-up child would never use bad words even when provoked, as he or she may never have been exposed to them. Or even if the child knows, but will still resort not saying them. Why? because of the upbringing. So beautifully Gurudev says over here, it's today's calendar, 27. I just read it for you all. Character is formed from the repeated choice of thoughts and action. Thoughts, mind control. Actions, sense control. Sama, dhamma. Make the right choice, you shall have a firm and noble character. You see, all these sayings that I have been sending you, they are all from Shastra. It's not that Gurudev is also thinking it freshly. It is in the Shastra. He is translating it for us and putting it in words that which we could understand and relate to. So, this is the mind and the sense control. But if the senses are controlled by force or fear, oh, I am a God-fearing man. Fear. No, you have to do this. Force. Then what happens? The mind revolts, keeps brooding over the pleasures that it has been telling, it's been stopped from doing. Many people keep thinking, it's an experience which you may have also felt it or seen it. Many people keep thinking of food more on the days when they observe fasting, which is perhaps why some feast at the end of the fast. The control of senses should aid the control of the mind and vice versa. How to control the mind? There are two ways. Shastra says there are two ways you can control the mind. One is by sublimation. I'll explain what it is. Other is by suppression. The first method, sublimation. What does it mean? By way of explaining, talking to the mind. We have a dialogue with the mind all the time, but it depends what kind of dialogue you are having. Giving an example of sublimation. A little child. Generally, mind is compared to either a child or to a monkey. These are the two examples that Shastra has given. Now, why child? I'll tell you. Because child is very curious by nature. So we have a child, our child. We love him. We love it. And we say, okay, Baba, I'm going to teach you this. You hold an apple in your hand and you say, A for apple. And he looks at you. He says, why? Why means what? It is an apple, that's why it is apple. Okay. Then you say A. He'll say A. And then you say, now say apple. He'll say, wait. When A is A, how can that A in apple be A? Why is it not A? You said, see, all that I don't know. You please follow what I'm telling you. A is apple. Do you think that child will really understand out of fear because you're a parent, or out of compulsion he'll say, okay, A and apple? He has this confusion in his mind, yet how is that A becoming A? Another example. A child is born, one child, and you teach him the first letter of Sanskrit, and then you say, now say akshara. He says akshara, but the child is child. Now the sounds are similar, akshara, same thing, same sound. So he has no question about it, but he said, why first why not any other sound? This is the child's mind. This is how our mind is. It is always having questions. It wants to know. Therefore, you say, because when you were little baby, when you were born, the first noise you made was ah. Therefore, Shastra teaches you first noise as You say, right. But why akshar? Why not anything else? Because akshara means letter. What are we learning? Letters. And also, akshara means that which cannot be destroyed. How? But if I write A, I can rub it off. Yes, you can rub it off from the paper. But can you rub it off from your mind? Knowledge can never be destroyed. Therefore, it is called A for akshara, my child. the child understands and his immediate queries are relaxed. So he not only learns, but he remembers. This is called sublimation. Suppression by way of willful denial, the second method. Sometimes the children become so adamant that you have to tell them, no, not now. And the child will not talk to you, or he'll get upset and he'll go and sit like that. But after a few seconds, he'll forget about it and he'll be relaxed. But that you should not stop at. Later on, you should sit with the child and once again try to explain to the child and give him the same explanation why he was or she was told so forcefully not to do it. That means once again we have to come back to sublimation. This is how you have to deal with your mind. In both ways, whether it is suppression or whether it is sublimation or suppression, in both the above ways, effort is needed. Explanation is needed. A willful effort is required. How to control the organs. In the beginning, I was telling you about organs, how they are. The senses are extrovert by nature. So when we indulge in their sense objects, we can never have enough of it. Senses will want more and more of it all the time. Here comes knowledge in play. Use the knowledge to control your sense impulses. Remind yourself that you are not an animal to just be tossed about with your impulses. You are an intelligent being and has reason, logic, intuitive mind and thinking. You know when something is hurtful or someone is harmful. You know it. If it is harmful and hurtful for your inner growth, stop there and then. Don't say, oh, just this time I'll indulge and next time I'll never do it. That never again will never come. It is needed. The need for sense control is immediate. The need for sense control is immediate. Quick example. We are driving and there is a zebra crossing. Indians know what is a zebra crossing. For others, the pedestrian crossing. The mind has given and command, okay, we can go through. The car, I'm driving the car and it can go through. But suddenly at the last moment when some human steps on the zebra crossing, suddenly the leg goes and hits the brake, overriding the command of the mind. The senses have acted on their own, overriding the command. How does that happen? Knowledge. You know the consequence of an accident. Past experience. Knowledge. The pain, the suffering, the legal entanglements, and the economic losses, etc. These naturally play in your mind and the body reacts. In the same way, whenever our mind is weakened by the old habits and it gives in, it is the senses, the sense control which can stop it at the organ level. Say no. No. Shall not. Not only like just as like a child. Slowly the mind starts understanding. Okay, it was forceful no, but I know it was better for me. So slowly it sublimates. But full effort is required for mind control and control of senses. It is possible, but possible with effort. Now we move ahead to the next, where we call it as Uparama. Upa, close, Rama, to revel or withdraw. This is Uparama. It is a state of the mind and senses that has withdrawn from reveling in the world of objects. When Sama and Dhamma come natural, Uparama is automatically achieved. In Sama and Dhamma, the mind and the senses may become or be in the objects in the world, but they are restrained with alertness and effort. But in Uparama, they are automatically withdrawn from the objects. There's a beautiful example given in Bhagavad Gita. It tells about a tortoise. We've all seen a tortoise. It moves slowly, nicely. 4 limbs, 1 little tail, and 1 head outside. It moves slowly. But the moment it senses fear, what does it do? It pulls in all its limbs instantly, and then only the shell remains out. You do whatever, the shell is so hard you can't break it, neither it can harm the limbs. In the same way, remember, Sama and Dhamma both require effort to maintain. However, Uparama there is an effortless objective view of the world and everything in the world. An effortless withdrawal of the mind's attention from the sense objects of the world is called Uparama. I must say this. Shastra has given a very powerful example. One may love a sweet meat, an Indian sweet meat called Rasgulla. And somebody may be there who would say, whatever happens, I will have one every single day. Now you explain to the person as much as you want that it is bad for you, blah, 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 blah. He will say, yeah. But one Rasgulla every day. Now there is unfortunately last Rasgulla left. And you're about to put it in your mouth and it slips from your hand and falls down on the ground. It becomes dirty because the floor was dirty. Now, do you think that person will want to lift that dirty Rasgulla, soiled Rasgulla, and put it in the mouth? No. It has now become contaminated. Now, even if you force the person, he will say, nay, I don't want it. In fact, he has a repulsion towards it. He effortlessly withdraws his mind from the same Rasgulla which he wanted so badly. Why? Effortless. One more example. Most of us human beings, including me, we love our hair, the head hair, and we spend millions over our lifetime to make it look nice and everything so that we look nice. Isn't it? Imagine, you are about to drink a glass of milk, and you're about to put it in your mouth, and somebody says, wait. You say, what? There's a hair inside. What happens? Such a beautiful hair. Why do you keep the glass away? Why? The answer is only one. Knowledge. Your mind immediately comes to, fallen Rasgulla is contaminated, hair is unclean in the milk, I can't take this. In the same way, due to knowledge now gained via Viveka, Vairagya, Sama, Dhamma, what should arise naturally? Uparama. Uparama should be effortless in you. You know the follies by now of the world and the objects. Then why do we indulge in that? Why should we indulge in it? Have the thoughts in this way. Even after fully knowing the impermanent and the transitory nature of the world and its objects, if you still indulge in the senses and the mind, in the world outside, in the objects outside, if you still look for happiness in them, then what can be said? If someone says, okay, what happened? It just fell down. I'll wash it and then eat it. Possible. Or someone would say, no, it's just my hair. I'll put 2 fingers, remove it, and now it's clean again, and I'll drink it. Shastra says, then what is the difference between us and an animal? The example given is of a dog. Dog is such a beautiful animal. I mean, there's so many beautiful things about a dog. But there is one very unique thing about a dog. Please forgive me for saying this, but it has to be said. It drives the point home instantly. Dog is probably the only animal which eats its own vomit.
Okay.
Shastra compares us to that dog. If after knowing the truth and the pains and sufferings and everything that the world gives, that we again want to go towards it. Powerful example. It is. But it is something which will hit us straight in the head to think. The whole idea of our study is so that we think differently. We think not half. We think to the end of it. Sri Shankara, Adi Shankaracharya, defines Uparama as strict observance of one's own duties. Duties come to all of us according to our age, position, and place in life. Many of us revolt against the performance of our own duties or do those things which are to be done out of force or habit, often bored and burdened by them. A student sometimes dislikes studies and goes to the school as though he is doing meharbani. He is doing some kind of a favor to the parents. But when the same duties are performed with enthusiasm and dedication, not only does the performance bring joy, but the mind becomes steady, single-pointed, free of likes and dislikes, peaceful and withdrawn. The highest form of Uparama, according to Tattva Bodha, according to Adi Shankaracharya, is when one remains in one's ultimate and true nature, our own true nature. It is said that our own true nature is Sat Chit Ananda, meaning existence, consciousness, and bliss. This is a revelation. This is a statement of the highest truth. Who am I? I am Sat Chit Ananda. Consciousness, existence, bliss. Existence, consciousness, bliss. Our goal is to reach to that state once again. Not that it is lost, it is there, but it's covered. It's covered by our extrovertedness. Therefore, we need to have Sama, control of mind, Dhamma, control of senses, and naturally have Uparama, withdrawal from these things, so that we reach to our own self. The outer withdrawal and performance of one's duty are necessary to reach that state. Not just withdrawal, to withdraw and become like a person who has left the world. No. First, to withdraw your mind from the world so that you don't get influenced by it. And second, do your duties as per your station. When you do your duties with this non-attachment attitude, you reach the success. You taste the success without having the burden or strain or stress of what you are doing. This is what Shastra says, that now we are on the path to learn the highest. So first know how to reach the highest. With these few words, I take a Madhyaviram. In the following session, we are going to speak of Titiksha. Titiksha means forbearance. It's beautiful. We might continue with Titiksha, Shraddha and Samadha. Let us join us in thanking God, in thanking our Gurus and our parents for giving us this opportunity of sharing this incredible knowledge about whom? Our own self. Please join me.